The 1956 Chevrolet Corvette State Route 2. A chronicle of Corvette's success in motorsports could fill several books, but the nameplate's first contact with the world of racing is often forgotten. It all began in 1956, when Zora Arkus-Duntov set a 150 mph speed record at Sebring driving a Corvette roadster. The experiment would soon spawn the Corvette State Route 2, a modified C1 Vette that featured a lengthened front end, a massive Jaguar D-Type-like wing on its trunk. Legend has it the State Route 2 was born when Jerry Earl, the son of GM styling chief Harley Earl, announced that he wanted a Ferrari. Harley immediately commissioned a racing Corvette that would become the State Route 2, GM's first purpose-built track car. Nearly 58 years old in 2015, the State Route 2 returns to the spotlight after years of lurking in the shadows. Having been through a complete and thorough restoration, the State Route 2 is as magnificent as it has ever been, and it is looking for a new racing enthusiast to take it back to Sebring, or any other American track for that matter. The State Route 2 may have been overshadowed by the Ferraris and Jaguars of the late 1950s, but it earned its place in Chevrolet's Hall of Fame as the first Corvette-badged factory race car. Read all about it below. Click past the jump to read more about the 1956 Chevrolet Corvette State Route 2. Exterior. The fact that this Vette is a purpose-built racer is evident as soon as you lay eyes upon it. The front end has been almost completely redesigned, being lengthened and receiving a reworked nose. The familiar grille of the first-gen Corvette was moved farther ahead of the headlamps for improved aerodynamics, while the latter were hidden under pointy caps. The chrome fenders were removed to cut down weight, while the standard turn signals were replaced by round cooling vents. The lengthened hood received several louvers toward the windscreen to let more air into the engine bay. The sides remained untouched except for the added ducts on the lower side of the doors and the Hallebrand racing wheels with center locks. Lastly, the exhaust pipes have been moved in front of the rear wheels. The rear of the State Route 2 didn't change much either, but only if you ignore the massive wing mounted behind the driver's seat. The aerodynamic element is very similar to the one made famous by the Jaguar D-Type and features a headrest and a fuel cap. Other than that, the rear end lost its chrome bumpers and received a larger trunk handle. Needless to say, the very first purpose-built Corvette race car sure looks gorgeous, with the longer hood giving it that appealing stance racers had before mounting the engine behind the rear seats become popular. Interior. Although the State Route 2 was stripped and prepared for the racetrack, the interior still resembles that of the standard production car. The dashboard retains most of its features, including the gauges behind the steering wheel. The central area, on the other hand, received an aluminum plate and had its gauges slide more toward the driver's side. GM also ditched the drilled steering wheel for a 3-spoke, wood-rimmed unit. The door panels were striped, the gear shifter replaced with a smaller one, while the standard seats were removed to make way for sportier ones fitted with racing harnesses. Previously protected by a full windscreen, the driver and the front passenger each had a small screen in front of them. Drivetrain. Since Chevy's largest engine for the first-gen Corvette was a 4.6-liter, small-block V8 in 1956, the company commissioned Smokey Yunick to come up with a solution for the State Route 2. The former NASCAR mechanic stroked and bored the original mill out to 5.5 liters and squeezed 331 horsepower from it. In this configuration, which included a 4-speed manual transmission, and heavy-duty brakes and suspension, the car achieved a 152.8 miles per hour top speed at the Daytona Speedweek in 1957. This engine helped the Corvette State Route 2 score 4 outright wins and 5 class victories in 35 events throughout its 4-year career on the track. Prices. Since Chevrolet never intended to sell the State Route 2 to private racers, there's no word on original pricing. However, if you're in the market for a unique race car, the State Route 2 is being auctioned by Corvette Mike of Southern California during the Scottsdale Auction Week in mid-January 2015. There's no official word on pricing, but I expect it to fetch in excess of $6 million given its uniqueness and tip-top shape. Competition. Ferrari 250 Testarossa, The Corvette State Route 2 raced again many iconic cars throughout its career, including the Ferrari 250 Testarossa. Although the Vette's bigger engine prevented it from racing in the same class as the Testarossa, the two encountered each other at the track many times. The most notable event was the 1958 Sebring 12 Hours, which the State Route 2 failed to finish due to a broken rear axle. The race was won by Phil Hill's 250 Testarossa, one of 5 Testarossas that had entered the event. Unlike the State Route 2, the 250 Testarossa was powered by 3.0-liter V12 engine that cranked out 300 horsepower and 281 pound-feet of twist through a 4-speed manual transmission. Closely related to the rest of the Ferrari 250 line, including the 250 GTO, the Testarossa and its multiple variants went on to win the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1958, 1960, and 1961. Jaguar D-Type. The D-Type is yet another giant the Corvette State Route 2 raced against in the late 1950s. The two clashed at Sebring as well, where none of the 3 D-Types that showed up on the grid managed to finish. However, the D-Type was living its final years, having already won the 24 Hours of Le Mans 3 times in 1955, 1956, and 1957. The D-Type used a naturally aspirated, 3.4-liter, inline-6 engine that cranked out 250 horsepower and 242 pound-feet of torque, and mated to a 4-speed manual gearbox. The British racer was capable of sprinting from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.7 seconds and had a top speed of 162 miles per hour. Jaguar built 71 D-Types, keeping 18 for its factory race teams and selling the remaining 53 to privateers. The front-engined roadster has a prodigious career, winning 160 events out of 609. Additionally, the D-Type obtained 64 class wins. Conclusion. The Corvette has a long and storied history on the racetrack, with each generation spawning several track beasts. From the Cunningham C1 Vettes of the early 1960s to the OMS-winning C6R, Chevy's iconic nameplate has a successful 50-year motorsport career to brag about. With the C7R likely to bring more trophies home, this career should continue with plenty of success. The State Route 2, however, is rarely remembered and honored for its achievements, which is rather sad considering it's GM's first-ever Corvette track car. Now that it has surfaced fully restored, the State Route 2 is finally getting the love it deserves. Hopefully, it will also end up with an owner that will hoon it at the track rather than keep it locked in a garage. Love its unique design and specification. The first purpose-built Corvette racer rich heritage. Leave it high-maintenance car. Do you have a few $1 million lying around?
If you liked this video, please share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.